The story of Larry Ellison, dyslexic kid to billionaire business magnate.
If you adhere to conventional wisdom, if you do everything everyone else does in business, you're going to lose. The only way to get ahead, to really get ahead.
The name Larry Ellison is not as recognizable as Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, but if you use the internet, you've used his products. Google, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, and countless others rely on Oracle to manage their databases. And Larry Ellison is the man behind it all. Within tech circles, Oracle is a classic company that has been around for a long time and has managed to stay relevant. But for an average person, Oracle is not a familiar name. It's not a surprise, as Oracle only has 430,000 customers. But don't let this fool you though. Oracle's customers are worth a lot, with an average customer worth $540,000 and a market cap of $233 billion. For comparison, Facebook has 3 billion users, but each user is only worth $228, with a market cap of $446 billion. Oracle has also found itself in near bankruptcy multiple times, but Larry Ellison somehow managed to turn that around. So, how did Larry Ellison build such a lucrative business and manage to keep it relevant till today? This is the story of Larry Ellison and Oracle. But before we do that, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Larry Ellison was born to a single mother on August 17, 1944, in New York City. His biological father was a U.S. Army Air Corps pilot, but he wasn't very involved in Larry's childhood. When Larry was 9 months old, he caught pneumonia, and his mother gave Larry to her aunt and uncle to raise. Larry found out about his adoption when he was 12. His adoptive father casually said, "You're adopted." As a kid, Larry was great at studies, but it wasn't like he was programming at the age of 12 or anything. Larry would attend the University of Illinois as a pre-med student after everyone around him convinced him. After the first year, he was actually named the Science Student of the Year, but he would never finish his studies. You see, at the end of his second year at college, his adoptive mother passed away, and Larry missed his final exams. He never finished med school after this, as he hated it. Soon after, he enrolled in the University of Chicago, but Larry also dropped out after the first semester. He was lost throughout his 20s and couldn't figure out what to do. He was able to pick up some computer programming skills throughout this period though, and this would prove extremely valuable in the 1970s. In 1973, Larry was working at an electronics company called Ampex, where he would meet two men named Ed Oates and Bob Miner. By 1976, though, Larry would leave Ampex and join Precision Instruments as vice president. But this is when Larry would come across a research paper written by a British computer scientist named Edgar F. Codd. In the paper, Codd described how large amounts of data could be efficiently stored using a relational database model. Larry quickly realized the commercial potential of such a product and would reach out to his former colleagues Ed Oates and Bob Miner about the idea. The three would get together and start developing a database solution based on Codd's research paper. They began with a mere $2,000. In 1979, the trio would launch their database product, Oracle, to the public. Oracle was the first commercial SQL-based rational database program on the market. Compared to other tech billionaires, his idea wasn't an instant hit. 1979 was way too early for such a product. The team had to be highly aggressive with their marketing effort and even a bit misleading. One example of this was the naming of the product itself. The first version of the product was called Oracle V2. First-generation products were usually buggy, so if they named it V2, people would look at it more positively. This aggressive marketing culture would trickle down in the company later and come back to haunt Oracle in the late 1980s. But more about that in a minute. After failing to attract customers for some time, Oracle found its first client, the CIA. The government always needs database management, and the CIA was willing to give them a shot. Even today, more than 20% of Oracle's revenue comes from government contracts, so they found a great customer right from the start. After a few rocky years, the company finally started to gain some attention. By 1982, Oracle had become so popular that the company changed its name to Oracle Inc., and business was finally booming. By 1987, Oracle had become huge and issued an IPO at $194 million valuation. This was a huge IPO, but Microsoft issued its IPO just a day later, overshadowing Oracle. However, there were some severe problems in the background, and this would be the peak of Oracle's success for a while, and some severe trouble awaited Oracle. Larry Ellison built an extremely competitive company culture that often involved selling customers more software than needed. In 1990, the SEC launched an investigation into Oracle's accounting practices, which led to the discovery of fraudulent activities. Oracle had overstated its revenue by $100 million in 1990 alone. At the heart of the scandal was a practice known as channel stuffing. This practice involves persuading distributors or customers to buy more products than they need, creating a temporary spike in revenue. In the case of Oracle, the company encouraged its distributors to purchase large amounts of software products at the end of the quarter, even if they did not need them immediately. Oracle would then record these sales as revenue, even though the products had not been sold to end users. This inflated the company's revenue and made it appear more profitable than it actually was. It also meant its sales team was making a killing with bonuses, so no one really cared. This led to multiple class action lawsuits from investors, and its share price dropped by more than 75%. But the problems for Oracle were just getting started. Oracle also started facing increasing competition within the database market as more companies entered the scene. To diversify, Larry attempted to take Oracle into the personal computer market, which failed miserably. He actually had a brilliant idea to reduce the cost of personal computers by leveraging databases and networks. His idea was to create something called the NC, or the network computer. This computer would be a bare-bones screen and input device, while the actual computing and processing would be completed on Oracle's networks. Sound familiar? It's similar to cloud computing. But again, the technology just wasn't there to create such a product in the 1990s. Larry was ahead of his time once again. During this time, Microsoft was also working aggressively to reduce personal computing costs and was successful at it. So, it made less and less sense to create the NC. By the end of the 1990s, Oracle had made little progress. They were still the largest database company in the world, but the NC didn't go anywhere, and Oracle now had a major competitor called Informix. Around this time, though, internet companies were blowing up as the dot-com bubble picked up steam. And this is where Larry Ellison saw an opportunity to revive Oracle. Larry Ellison cleverly picked up on this opportunity and embraced the internet. He would offer Oracle's various database and network products through the internet. Oracle also got lucky at times. Its main competitor, Informix, went bust in 1997. The Informix scandal involved two senior executives, CEO Phil White and CFO Walter Forbes, who were accused of directing the company to recognize revenue from software sales that had not yet occurred. The company ultimately paid a $250 million settlement to investors harmed by the scandal, and its CEO ended up in jail. So, Oracle's major problems would unexpectedly be solved overnight, allowing Oracle to rally exponentially along with the rest of the dot-com companies. Between 1999 and 2000, Oracle's stock grew from just $6 to $40. But as with any speculative bubble, the dot-com era was about to end. By 2002, Oracle was down to $10 a share, and it was again stagnating. This time, though, Larry Ellison did something different. Instead of growing its own business, Oracle went on a shopping spree, buying out companies left and right. Between 2000 and 2010, Oracle made 55 acquisitions, and they turned out to be very successful. Larry Ellison also ended up becoming the highest-paid executive of the decade, with a total compensation of $1.8 billion. Such insane compensations were unheard of back then. One of their most famous acquisitions of all time was Sun Microsystems for $7.4 billion, which gave Oracle control over the Java programming platform. Oracle has continued this strategy till date, and their business has become much more diversified than just database management. They still provide database solutions and acquire a bunch of companies, but they have expanded to cloud services as well, which has proved to be quite lucrative. This time, Larry Ellison has set his eyes on Amazon's AWS and wants to beat Amazon in cloud computing. With Larry's such competitive nature, this is going to be an exciting war to see. Oracle already provides services to every large company you can think of. For instance, 48% of their customers in ERP division make less than $50 million per year. 10% earn between $50 million and $1 billion per year, and 30% make over $1 billion per year. Everyone from Netflix, Google, Amazon, Walmart, MIT, governments, Dell, and eBay use Oracle. With such a reputation, Oracle could very well be a big player in the cloud computing space. So, what do you think about Larry Ellison? Do you think he's one of the greatest salesmen in Silicon Valley? Comment that down below. And don't forget to subscribe.